the allegations that Jennifer and James Crumbley were left in the dark just are not true, and the evidence at trial does not show that. The evidence presented at trial that as late back as March, the 9th, 17th, and the 20th text messages about from their son to Jennifer Crumbley that he was seeing things. In April, his text messages to his friends indicate he asked for help. His mother laughed at him. April 28th, Jennifer told his friend's mother that he was depressed. There were multiple visits to the gun range. There was 2 guns purchased for him. The Crumbleys were aware that he was struggling in school, and in fact, they had a rather, I would say, critical fight the night before, which is all detailed, incidentally, and as well as where the gun actually was in the shooter's statements, his plea, and the multiple statements he made to the psychiatrist, the very same things. They stand here and say, "Oh, if only we could have called them." Well, calling those individuals would have resulted in all of the claims that's inconsistent with what he said, and it's inconsistent with what the psychiatrist testified to in the Miller hearing. So I had no intention of addressing this, but it was brought up, so I feel as if I have to, and I have a duty to do so. They were concerned. The evidence showed that. They were very concerned. They were concerned about the drying, and they were concerned based on the fact that they were called to school. Jennifer Crumbley's own statements acknowledges she was called to the school. They wanted him to get help. She said she had to go back to work, but they said that he could stay. None of that, by the way, is in dispute, and that she left. This insinuation that if only I had known he was sleeping in class and teachers might have been concerned, then none of this would have happened, is at the core of why you saw 6 people standing here and saying there's no remorse or accountability. And I want to be clear, remorse does not sound like I feel really bad. I'm sure they do. I don't dispute they feel bad. I don't dispute they have grief. That's not the kind of remorse and accountability these victims are looking for. What that looks like is, we messed up. We should have done this and we didn't, and we are very sorry. And that has not happened, which is what we're talking about here, and what you heard the victims say. I don't want to belabor any more that we had to in the trial. I have a deep respect for Ms. Lehman, but the facts of this and the elements of this case simply are not that the prosecution had to show that he had actual knowledge and he could predict and he knew exactly what his son was going to do. Those are not the elements of the crime. It's not what the jury was required to find, and it has nothing to do with their actual conviction. Jennifer Crumbley and James Crumbley were not convicted based on a narrative. They were not convicted because somebody thought they were a bad or good parent. Those 2 trials involved multiple motions and objections over evidence that the court sustained. We did not allow the jury to present the information about Jennifer Crumbley that her lawyer made a strategic decision to in the middle of the trial, say, open the door, you can bring it all in, was not due to the prosecution's requests or actions. But you can't seek to exclude evidence and then allow somebody to testify to inconsistent with the evidence. The last thing I want to say is there is case law that the court's aware of about what the court can consider in fashioning a proportional sentence. And we don't give power or authority to victims to decide or render verdicts, with good reason. But we should not, and we cannot, sanitize their pain or the weight of the impact or chalk it up to it's emotionally charged, as if everything that's happened here is because people sitting here are too emotional and they pressure people, because that just simply isn't true. And not only should you consider the weight and the impact of the defendant's actions and inactions, you are required to, pursuant to the case law. It is one of the factors to consider, the severity and the impact of the crime. We've heard a lot about it's not what happened in the school. And while I understand that the negligence, the gross negligence that occurred happened before what happened in that day when he left that bathroom and started firing the 9mm and killing 4 kids. I understand that, but it is absolutely about what James and Jennifer did and what they didn't do, and the gross negligence that caused those acts. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. When 2 parents have the ability and are in the best position and have the most knowledge and need to protect other kids, and they do nothing. This is what it looks like. They do nothing, and then they come here today and they claim they're victims of the school, of the prosecution, of the emotional tensions of public opinion. But there were 2 long and rigorous and detailed trials that included multiple victims and witnesses who testified under oath with hundreds of exhibits presented to the juries, with the safeguard of this court allowing what they could see and what they couldn't see, and they were defended by 2 attorneys aptly and vigorously. That is what this conviction is about. And when fashioning a sentence, it is absolutely critical that you listen and consider the impact of what that gross negligence caused. So we're asking you to exceed the guidelines, because I believe all of the factors pursuant to the case law, with the necessary consideration of the impact of these crimes, justifies you to do. We're asking you, the people are asking you, Your Honor, to consider the devastating impact of their gross negligence that was foreseeable. Help me. Blood everywhere. The world is dead. All the while, a 9mm had just been purchased for him, and 50 rounds of ammunition. Both things can be true, Your Honor. You can fashion proportionate sentence, but not ignore the unimaginable loss and the grief that these parents are enduring. Because they will never get back another moment with Tate, or Hannah, or Justin, or Madison. And this is what it looks like. Thank you.
Thank you.